character needs a backstory. I want him to be kind of a bad boy, but I also do want to have a tender side, a romantic side. He's also got to be kind of moody. Yeah, so he's got to have a sense of humor that he stole from his younger brother who died, giving him somewhat of a tragic backstory. Does this all work? Find out, because today you're getting my 4 tips on how to create a good, non-contradictory backstory. Welcome back to my channel. I am the awesome Tim Green. I write under the pen name T Green. As the voices always like to tell me, I am going to be the supreme overlord of the world. Today it is all about backstory. So let's jump right into it. So what is a backstory? Well, do you know any person at all? Or have you been living on your own since you were born? Like, never had any other contact? Oh, you have? Great. Then you know that people have stories. They grew up, they experienced stuff. You've experienced stuff. I've experienced stuff. That is the backstory of your character. So what have your characters experienced as they grew up, to the point where the story takes place for them? Does this mean you have to have a backstory for your character? You absolutely fucking have to have a backstory. It's essential. Characters have a past. But the question is, do you need to reveal it? Not necessarily. There's tons of stories where backstory isn't relevant to the story. Look at Harry Potter. We get Dumbledore's backstory, part of it, in the final book, Deathly Hallows. We don't get everything, but we do get some of it. That's why it became kind of a shock when J.K. Rowling revealed that Dumbledore is gay. People accused her of saying, "Oh, you're rewriting the books, it was never in there." It wasn't, though I did see someone post an article on some Harry Potter forum probably a year or two before the Deathly Hallows ever came out, before J.K. Rowling revealed it, that predicted he was gay. Because even if you do reveal your backstory, you're not going to reveal all of it. You're going to reveal what's necessary for the story. And J.K. Rowling never saw that as relevant to reveal in the books. This was called Harry Potter, not Albus Dumbledore. Depending on how much you reveal of the character's backstory is up to you and how it pertains to the story, but you should have one. My tips today will help you with this, but also explain a little bit more why you need to do that. How deep of a backstory? That's really up to you to decide. J.K. Rowling gave a backstory to every single character in the first Harry Potter book. I'm assuming she did the same thing for the rest of the books, all the new characters. Do you have to go that far? If you want to really know the side characters and what they're doing and why they are the way they are, that's up to you. You should give all your secondary characters a backstory, but they don't necessarily need a fully fleshed out one. If they're going to be more important later on because you're writing a series, then yes. If they're just it's a standalone book, probably not. With that said, let's move on to my tips. Tip number 1, start with the present day. The easiest way to craft a backstory is to start with the rest of what makes up a character. Some people will start with a backstory first and go from there. Like I already said, I find that difficult, so I don't do it. What do I mean by starting with the present day? It's very simple. So how do they get there is with the way you then go begin. So you can go back as far as they were born. Do you want to go that far back? It's up to you. I generally start with the day they were born, current situation, and move from there. I don't spend a lot of time on their early life, and that's a big part. I generally jump to the next big step or big thing that they will actually remember and go from there. An example of this is I knew that my character Kiana from my Seeing in the Veil series was going to be a very quick-witted, snarky, responsive girl, very sarcastic, very opposed to any kind of religion, thanks to her stepmother overbearing religious. Wow, she's nuts. Let's just put it that way. Val is a religious nutbag. Like, this is not a criticism on people who are religious, but we're talking about to the extremes. You name a religion and she's almost at that level. And because of that, Kiana is very opposed to it. You can say, oh, that's nothing new. There's more to the story, but it's a spoiler, so I can't talk about it. Tip number 2. Pinpoint the life-changing moment of your character. What do I mean by pinpoint the character's life-changing moment? That means, what was an event in the past that led to where they were? We just got done talking about what they are like currently, and doing that first. Well, how do you get to there? So was there a life-changing moment that got them to go that way? Who we are built upon layers and layers of little decisions and reactions to events to build us to who we are. You could go back to the nurture versus nature. It simply means the events that happen to our lives, either because we caused them or someone else caused them, to help us grow. It could be something small as taking a candy and trying to steal, like just taking a candy and your parents slapping you like, no, and start yelling at you in the store to never want to take a piece of candy ever again without permission. Or you could be, you're not looking, I'm going to take it now. Or later on, you're like, I want candy, I'm going to take it. Put it in my pocket and walk out. You can use these different things and to act different ways. You could have a woman who never got shown love by her father, who can't love, who doesn't go out and act out sexually. It's like, oh, this is how you love, by not showing love. But it goes down around to these events. And this can be the good or the bad. So don't feel like you have to have all these terrible moments to make up your character is. There should be good moments. There should be a lot of them for this. But there can also be more bad than good. I'm sick and tired of everyone thinking their character has to have a tragic past. They don't. Find these little moments that change everything for them, and they don't have to be gigantic. My parents were killed in a car crash, and I wandered the streets not knowing they were dead for 10 years. Or it can be little things. Like I already said, your hand being slapped from taking a piece of candy because you wanted it at a store can lead to big, huge consequences based on other things. Tip number 3. What is your character's motivation and how does it relate to their past? What is your character's current motivations? Duh. What do they want? Why do they want it? I mean, what do they want? What do they want out of life? Do they want to be rich and successful because they've been poor and had nothing? Maybe it's because they were wealthy, but their parents never let them spend it on anything. They had enough, but they never got anything that they wanted, even though they could afford it. So they're like, I want to be rich so I can buy anything I want. Whatever the actual goal, the character goal, and what the desire they act to run after should affect everything they do. And this will come, and the reason why they want it will come from their backstory. So keeping in mind what you want their motivation to be for their character, you should keep that in mind while running your backstory. And knowing that beforehand will help with coming up with reasons why when you're writing the backstory. If you don't know the reason why and you're writing your backstory, very simple. I'm going to use an example of Naruto. Naruto is an orphan who is an outcast because he contains the nine-tailed fox demon sealed inside of him. I know, it's anime if you're not... And the reason why he's outcast is because that fox demon nearly destroyed the Hidden Leaf Village. At the end of the first episode, you find out that he sucks at school. He's failed multiple times to advance, where he sees Sasuke, who's a genius, and everyone loves, all the girls like him. I mean, they're 10. So he declares not only will he be a great ninja, because no one believes in him, he will be the Hokage, or the leader of the Hidden Leaf Village someday. And that is his main goal for the entire series. Everything he does is to achieve that goal. And that's what you want. And it comes from his backstory of not being loved and not no one respecting or believing in him. So he says, I can do this. But there's a good example of goal meaning backstory. Tip number 4, how does your story arc relate to your character's past? We talked about in plot, you have a story arc. Well, this is your character arc. So what is a character arc? We'll dive in far more detail of this in later episodes of this YouTube channel. But to give you a brief overlook, it's the change that happens throughout the story. That change should be related to the backstory. So let's say if you've plotted out your story, you know exactly what's going to happen. You know what the main character is going to be fighting for. Well, you should tie the character's growth into that, and that character growth should come from his backstory, his past. What is the thing that the story that you're telling is going to challenge in them? Why do they need to overcome this to be successful in this story? Maybe you find out that your character can't love or can't trust, so he constantly or she constantly runs out and does stuff on her own, and the only way to be successful is to trust the people who are trying to help her team, her friends. Well, then your backstory should show why she doesn't trust people, showing that people have turned their backs on her or him every single time she's given them a chance. Other things like that can happen, be used. So it's one of those things where the motivation and your story, your character growth can work together. It can also be two separate things. But using your backstory to help craft that, but also knowing how you want your character to grow can also help with fleshing out the backstory if you don't have it already. It's now time for the exercise. So what am I going to have you do? Well, it's quite simple. I want you to take one of the 4 tips and do it. That's all I got for you today. So comment down below your thoughts on my 4 tips. Please post any of your tips that you use to help craft your backstory, and let's start a conversation. If you made it to the end of this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to know more about writing, me and my buddy Adam Daly of the 01 Podcast Group do a podcast on Wednesdays at the 01 Podcast channel. Let's link down below in the description. On world building, we are currently world building a brand new world live. I post new videos on Tuesdays. I will be posting some random stuff here and there, so if you want to know when that stuff goes live as well, you gotta subscribe and make sure you hit that bell. Smash that bell. I'm still pissed off from what my computer did, so smash it. Just remember, if you actually smash your screen, I can't be held responsible. Just remember. Anyway, in the meantime, you can always find me on social media. That stuff is going to be... Fuck! It's my left hand. One of these days I will get this. It's going to be here. I'll do it and I'll get it. Anyway, that stuff will be right here. I am currently posting videos, short videos from my trip to Pittsfield, Mass, a place where a few scenes from my upcoming novel, The Seeing Through the Veil, takes place. I hope you have a great writing week and start writing. Bye!